Railriders and a look into Norfolk's railways. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on the Wherry Lines, which is the section between Great Yarmouth to Norwich and Lowestoft. The Wherry Lines has been known for the last decade for its loco-haul passenger trains, one of which being the short-haul set, here seen being hauled by Class 47 locomotives in the summer of 2013. The short-haul set was assembled by Greater Anglia due to a shortage of DMU stock for use on the line. The set was in operation for a good 7 years, from 2013 to 2019. Our first experience on the short-haul set was in 2014, hauled by Class 47 locomotives 47, 818 and 47790. 47790 was known for its Northern Bell livery and named Galloway Princess.
I am on the short set, which is 2 Class 47s and now 2.5 Mark IIs. Broken. Yes. Looks like there's ghosts in there actually, that's pretty creepy. We are about to depart. And in a minute there'll be a great roar of life and some train spotters will get incredibly excited indeed.
Very new and exciting for me and Tom Cutter, as this was the first time that I'd ever actually ridden on a loco-haul passenger train on the main line.
It's unreal! I'm riding a 47 on the main line! Yes!
This isn't just any normal train. This is a heritage train. In normal service. As you can see, it's a starry night, and there are fumes overhead coming from the Hellfire 47.
A total of 512 Class 47s were built at Crewe Works and Brush's Falcon Works, Loughborough between 1962 and 1968, which made them the most numerous class of British mainline diesel locomotive. They were fitted with the Foulger 12 LDA 28C twin-bank 12-cylinder unit, producing 2,750 bhp. This was later derated to 2,500 bhp. The short set wasn't the only loco-haul passenger train to appear in the 2000s. Before the set come about, there were regular services on summer Saturdays from London to Great Yarmouth. The Norwich to Great Yarmouth section would have been usually loco-hauled by Class 47. Skipping forward in time to 2015, the Class 47s no longer operated on the short set, and it was hauled by Class 37 diesel locomotives instead. The British Rail Class 37 diesel locomotive is a diesel-electric loco, also known as the English Electric Type 3. The class was ordered as part of the British Rail Modernisation Plan. They were numbered in two series, D6600 to D6608 and D6700 to D6999. The Class 37 became a familiar sight on many parts of the British Rail network, in particular forming the main motive power for intercity services in East Anglia and within Scotland. They also performed well on secondary and inter-regional services for many years. The Class 37s are known to some rail enthusiasts as tractors, a nickname due to the agricultural sound of the diesel engine of the locomotive. Despite all members of the class now being over 55 years old, more than 60 locomotives are still mainline registered and remain active, undertaking a variety of passenger, freight and departmental duties on the National Rail network in 2020. Approximately 30 locomotives have been preserved. Norwich has always been a good station for train spotters, as locomotive-hauled passenger trains were around for decades in this station. Nowadays it's very different, as we see multiple units and electric locomotives running and working the rails. The electric locomotive we see here, Class 90, is also going to be phased out very soon. The Class 90s are soon to be re-embarked on different jobs. This includes freight work around the Suffolk and East Anglia area. The Class 90 locomotives were built by British Rail Engineering Limited at Crewe Works in 1987 and 1990, weighing at 84.5 tonnes and with a top speed of 110 miles per hour. They operate from 25 kV AC overhead lines and produce 5,000 bhp. Class 153 scuds can be seen on regular services on the branch trains. The British Rail Class 153 Super Sprinters are single coach rail cars converted from a two-coach Class 155 diesel multiple unit in the early 1990s. The class was intended for service on rural and branch lines where passenger numbers do not justify longer trains. Heading into Norwich now is a Class 158 Express Sprinter locomotive. Built between 1989 and 1992, these were specifically built for purposes of replacing loco-hauled passenger trains. The Class 90s were built to replace the Class 87s. The Class 90 design was based off of the 87s. Here seen is a DVT with 90 on the rear, heading into the station. To the short-haul set, we're going to take a ride on the service down to Great Yarmouth, led by 37419 Carl Havland. first station along the Wherry Lines is Brundall Gardens. This is serving the western side of the village of Brundall in Norfolk. It is 4 miles, 66 chains down the line from Norwich on the route to Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft. Its 3-letter station code is BGA. The station was opened in 1924. Today it is managed and served by Greater Anglia. The next station along the line is Brundall itself, not too far from Brundall Gardens. Brundall Railway Station is on the Wherry Lines in the east of England, serving the village of Brundall, Norfolk, and it is 5 miles, 60 chains down the line from Norwich on the route to Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft. Its 3-letter station code is BDA. The station was opened in 1844. With the passing of the Railways Act in 1921, the GER collaborated with other railways to form the London and North Eastern Railway, LNER, on the 1st of January 1923. And so Brundall became an LNER station. A new station, Brundall Gardens Holt, was opened to the west of Brundall on the 1st of August 1924. On nationalisation on the 1st of January 1948, the station and its operations came under the management of the Eastern Region of British Railways. In February 2012, the station and its operations were transferred to Abellio Greater Anglia. As we reach the curve off towards Great Yarmouth, the driver has to open the locomotive up towards the gradient as we head and rocket down the tracks towards Great Yarmouth. We are travelling in one of many of the Mark II aircon coaches. The Mark II family of railway carriages are British Rail's second design of carriages. They were built by British Rail's workshops from 1969 at Pareil Engineering Limited between 1964 and 1975. Unique things about the Wherry Lines is the fact that they are still using semaphore signalling and signal boxes are still in operation at most of the stations. Most of the stations also still contain gated crossings. Great Yarmouth Railway Station, originally Yarmouth Vauxhall, is one of 2 eastern termini of the Wherry Lines in the east of England, serving the seaside town of Great Yarmouth. The other terminus at the eastern end of the lines is Lowestoft, and the western terminus to which all trains run is Norwich. Trains from Great Yarmouth run to Norwich via one of 2 routes, either via Acle, the more regularly used line, or via Reedham. Via Acle, Great Yarmouth is 18 miles 29 chains down the line from Norwich, and via Reedham it is 20 miles 45 chains. Just outside of Great Yarmouth Station we notice a bridge. This bridge has indications of an old railway line going across it. We have reason to believe that this used to be the line down to Yarmouth Docks. We are now going to leave Great Yarmouth and head back down to Norwich on the short set, this time led by 37405. Skipping forward in time, we are now at 2016.
Right, fellas, so what are we doing today?
Doing eating breakfast and going on trains.
Oh.
They do these garners, like,
Yeah, we're not the big railway, isn't it?
yeah.
Reaching the platforms at Norwich, taking a couple of photos of Class 57 in the sidings, we notice a Class 90 heading into the station with a train from London. In 2016, there wasn't one short set, in fact there was two. Due to an increased number of shortage of diesel multiple units, Greater Anglia hired in another short-haul set. This set was accompanied by the modern Class 68 diesel locomotives. The Class 68 is a type of mainline mixed-traffic diesel-electric locomotive manufactured by Stadler Rail and previously Vosloff for direct rail services in the United Kingdom. The design is derived from the Stadler Eurolight, and Stadler's product name for this variant is the UK Light. Delivery of the second batch of Class 68s, also for direct rail services, and the first to be built by Stadler, was completed delivery in April 2016. Delivery of the third batch of 68s was completed in July 2017. Upon boarding the Class 68s, we noticed the other short set coming into the station, formed of the Class 37s, 37405 and 37419 Carl Haviland. first locomotive, 68001, spent several months being tested at Vilim Test Centre in Czech Republic prior to being shipped to the UK. The second locomotive, 68002, was the first to arrive in the UK in January 2014. Now on board of the 68's making that rather addictive thumping noise, it's full speed ahead to Lowestoft.
These old Mark IIs. Are these the ones on the Deltic tour not that long ago? These weren't. That's a bit of you, isn't it? That's lovely. Where is that? That's neat.
We're at Lowestoft now. Stop crying.
Oh, he's playing Bendy Railways again.
Upon arrival to Lowestoft, we're going to skip forward in time to 2019, where me and Ross head for a night on the short haul set, as any time soon the short set will be at the end of its service days. On this particular evening we were very lucky to see the short haul set actually running, as it wasn't scheduled on real-time trains. The locomotives hauling the short haul set this evening is 37716 and 37419 again. 37716 is 377 and is one of the flush front variants of the locomotive.
I think they're just doing tests on it.
Waiting for the short set to arrive in the station, we see various Class 90 locomotives. As 90005 departs the station, the short set is now in view. 37419 now pulls up to the signal to await the departure of a Class 153 service to clear the section of track. Now this is done, the 37 can move into the station. .37716 leads the train into the station, and obviously the driver has forgotten to turn his marker lights off, as it has its whole entire lights on, including the red ones. The Class 377 subclass was intended primarily for heavy freight work with extra ballast and modified gearing. As part of the major refurbishment scheme of Class 37 locomotives in the 1980s, another freight dedicated fleet of 44 Class 37s was created, the Class 37-7 subclass, which was very similar to the Class 37-5 subclass, except for the plating over of a body side window and the addition of a ballast weight to give extra pulling power when hauling heavy freight trains, such as the metals. Before we depart, we hear the rather addictive beat of Carl Haviland's Idle Sound before leaving the station towards Great Yarmouth. The driver for this evening's service down to Great Yarmouth was really enthusiastic and gave us some epic thrash all the way down to the station. What a great sound. As we reach Great Yarmouth, 37716 takes the train back down to Norwich, while we head to Great Yarmouth for a couple of drinks and some dinner before heading back home. Whilst at Great Yarmouth, we go and see the remains of Yarmouth Beach Railway Station. It is a former railway station in Great Yarmouth, and it was opened in 1877 by the Great Yarmouth and Stalham Light Railway. Use of the line gradually began to decline, and by the 1950s, competition from the roads diminished passenger numbers. Yarmouth Beach and the line closed in 1959, along with most of the Midland and Great Northern Joint Railway network, now in British Railway hands. It was converted into a coach station and finally demolished in 1982-83, and is now a car and coach park. Having our dinner and a few drinks in Yarmouth cost us valuable time, and sadly we missed the last short-hauled set service. Well, that's what we thought anyway. This service that we'll be catching is a Class 156 DMU. Yes. Sadly, our story worsened, and we witnessed more bad news.
Can you tell us the situation?
There's no train back from Norwich to Wyndham.
So we're screwed.
Fuck. No buses either.
We should have got the 9:15. Get the short set, because it would have been the short set. Everything about it was good. It was going to be the short set. We would have got back in time. We would have missed a train. Now we're stranded in Norwich. What are we going to do? What exactly are we going to do?
I don't know. Should have got a short set.
Let me just get this straight. Oh. So let me just get this straight. I'm gonna miss the last train.
Missed the last train. It's already left.
Okay, we missed the last train. We're on a 156 and not the short set. We could have got the short set on the earlier train. And now someone has farted. And it stinks of shit. That's basically what's happened.
Well, that's it then, isn't it?
I was just saying, in platform 3, then that's our train, and we need to get it if it hasn't departed yet.
Luckily, we had some good news, as the train down to Wyndham was delayed. Now it's just dependent on us to catch that service.
There's a short set. So we wouldn't have got the short set anyway.
We weren't running anyway.
We wouldn't have got short set anyway. There's no train in the platform.
No, we're in we're not in platform. That's our train.
Wait, what?
That's our train.
We're not even in platform 3. We've got to go.
Platform number 3. You'll have to walk around the end of this platform number 3, Cambridge.
Oh, we need to hurry up.
We need to run. We're wrong side, it's outside. We're gonna have to run.
Open the door. Open the damn door. Quick, we're gonna have to run. Run. We've got to get on this one here. Yes!
That's it then.
We've got it. We've done it, Ross. We've done it.
We made it.
We made it. Just.
The short set wasn't even running, was it?
No, short set weren't even running, so we probably wouldn't have got it anyway. Well, that's it then. We sorted. We're done.
On the train. No
Victory.
taxis.
Victory. No taxis. No nothing. We're saved.
But it's still delayed, we're not left yet. We don't know when we're leaving.
Oh no. Oh no. What if we're stuck here for ages?
But that's it then.
Oh no. No.
Luckily enough, we wasn't stranded for ages at Norwich, and it was just about a half-hour wait. So this is the Cambridge-bound train, and I'm going to be staying over at Ross's house for the evening in Wyndham.
We made it. We made it. We're off. That's it.
Well, that's it then. We made it.
We made it. Back at Wyndham.
That was lucky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We thought we fucked. Didn't we?
Yeah, very close to being. Short set chaos, that was.
We thought we was going to have to spend 50 quid on a tank.
Skipping forward in time now to later in 2019, to the 16th of May to be exact. And this was the last time we had haulage behind the short-hauled set. Joining me for this trip was Michael Hughes. The locomotives on the short set for today are 37716 and 37405. Caught the 8:30 service down to Great Yarmouth, hauled by 37405. And as stated, it was one of the last runs of the short-hauled set in the whole entire world.
One of the last runs of the Great Anglia short-hauled sets ever to be running. They're going in a week or two.
Yeah.
Sad sight, really. But they are. Stuff moves on. It's the way of the railways, I guess.
Unfortunately, the wind wasn't in favour of us on this day, and sadly, it kind of covered up the sound effects of the thrash.
That's a Mark II coach toilet, Michael.
Oh, I love it, mate, love it. Lovely bog.
Nice bit of
Mark II bog action.
bit of style.
Yes, bit of 1960s shitting.
Before we ended our day, we decided to take a ride on the short-hauled set for one more time in the evening from Norwich to Great Yarmouth and back again. In the left-hand corner you can just about see one of the new Stadler units which we're going to be replacing these remarkable locomotives.
Righto, Michael.
Yeah, you?
Bashing a short-hauled set for the second time of the day.
It's got to be done.
Evening time. Well, it has got to be done, isn't it? Because it's
Not much longer left.
Is that going now, or?
I don't think so.
Sadly, later on in the year, after the short set gets withdrawn from service, the semaphore signalling, gated crossings and signal boxes would no longer be used on the Wherry Lines. The replacement for these are the new modern colour aspect lights, which have less of nostalgia. As the day draws to a close, we bid farewell to the short-haul set. And And sadly, the Wherry Lines will no longer hear the sounds of diesel locomotives on loco haul passenger trains anymore. We are going to take our time to bid farewell and appreciate the fact that these locomotives were running and the amount of joy that they gave to rail enthusiasts.
It's unreal! It's like classic days!
Right,
Carpool karaoke with Simon, Sam and Michael.
Bure Valley, here we come.